Hello gamers, welcome to the Arcadion M4 Savage, where the raid faces off against Wicked Thunder. Please help me out with the algorithm stuff by liking, commenting, and subscribing, and let's get into the raid. We use waymarks at specific points to help with a positioning heavy mechanic and assign non-standard clock positions for the same reason. If you prefer clocks with the melees on the positionals, see my pinned comment. On pool we position Wicked Thunder north to minimize movement for an upcoming mechanic. Wicked Thunder shockingly begins the encounter with her Raidwide AoE, Wrath of Zeus. Wicked Thunder will grow Electrope wings, summoning Electrope cubes along the west side of the arena, while leaping north to cast Bewitching Flight. The cubes and wing lasers both telegraph column AoEs, so position at the intersections of the gaps to dodge. Bewitching Flight will leave vertical electric lines on the arena before she recenters to cast Electrifying Witch Hunt. Either the two outermost or three innermost lines will begin growing in size, telegraphing wide column AoEs, while Electrope cubes will have spawned east. We spread in or out accordingly, with range DPS north, followed by tanks, then melee DPS, and healers south. As everything resolves, either all supports or all DPS will be struck by Electrifying Witch Hunt, inflicting a physical vulnerability and Forked Lightning debuffs. Forked Lightning will cause players to blow up in a circle AoE that will hit any players nearby when it expires. The remaining electric lines on the arena floor will now begin growing, and Wicked Thunder will cast Witch Hunt. A special telegraph will appear on her model, with dark purple diamonds spaced far apart indicating that the farthest players will be hit by Witch Hunt, or tightly grouped pink diamonds indicating that the closest players will be hit. The players without physical vulnerability will want to take the four farthest or closest positions accordingly, to bait the witch hunts while the remaining players take the other four positions to safely resolve their Forked Lightning. Wicked Thunder will now cast either Narrowing or Widening Witch Hunt, while telegraphing a series of close and far baits. Narrowing indicates that things will start with a safe circle around Wicked Thunder, while Widening indicates that they start with a point-blank circle AoE around her. There will be a total of 4 Witch Hunt baits, and they will always alternate between in and out per set. Likewise, the baits will always alternate between close and far on every set. As for the bait order, we have the tanks take the first close bait, and the healers take the first far bait. The melee DPS take the second close bait, and the range DPS take the second far bait. Let's go through an example. In this case, the boss is telegraphing Narrowing, or in, and close baits. This means that the mechanic will play out as such: in and close baits, out and far baits, in and close baits, out and far baits. As H1, my clock position is at the one-way mark. The first bait is close, which means it belongs to the tanks. They go to the target ring to be closest while I remain near my waymark. The next set will be out and far, which means it is the healer's turn. So while the rest of the party goes out to their waymarks to dodge the point-blank circle, I go out extra far to bait the next set of witch hunts. The next set is the second in and close, which means I go back in on my waymark, while the melee DPS go to the target ring to bait. Finally, it is the second out and far, which means the party goes out to their waymarks, while the range DPS go out extra far to get their baits. It is possible for the mechanic to begin with something like in and far, in which case the healers would bait the very first set before tanks bait the out and close. But aside from differences in how much movement a particular pattern has, things work out more or less the same every time. This will all be followed by another Wrath of Zeus Raidwide, so heal and mitigate as needed. Wicked Thunder will cast Electrope Edge, summoning 4 Electrope cubes in the corner of the arena. Party members should position on her cardinals as they please to avoid some upcoming AoEs. Witchgleam will have her cast 3 sets of 2 column AoEs at the cubes, charging them. Cubes will be hit either once or twice each and will later detonate in an AoE that grows larger as they get more charges of Witchgleam. We will need a quadrant whose cube was only struck once, and there will always be one on the west and one on the east. Wicked Thunder will cast Symphony Fantastique followed by Sidewise Spark, cleaving either her left or right half. She will have either 8 small orbs or 4 large orbs floating around herself, indicating to either spread or stack in pairs respectively. These spreads or pairs must be resolved in the quadrant that has a 1 charged cube that is not being cleaved. We use relative positions facing in towards Wicked Thunder, with the melees close and ranged far, Light Party 1 on the left and 2 on the right. The current tank will be targeted with Wicked Jolt, a column tank buster that hits twice in sequence and inflicts magic vulnerability up. This can be soloed with an invuln, but it's safe to swap after the second hit either way to avoid a lethal auto attack from the magic vuln. Following Wicked Jolt, players should position at their clocks for the next Electrope Edge. The arena will be divided into a 5x5 grid, and players will be given the Electrical Condenser debuff, causing 2 players of each role to get a 22-second fast debuff and a 42-second slow debuff. Witchgleam will then target 4 players with column AoEs 4 times, and players will need to count how many times they are hit to resolve an upcoming mechanic. Additionally, if you have a slow debuff, you should add 1 to your total hits to account for a later mechanic. Lightning Cage will telegraph AoEs on multiple squares in a fixed pattern. One edge will have a safe center tile, with the other 4 tiles being hit by AoEs, and this safe tile will be our relative south for the next set of positions. When our Electrope debuffs expire, they will blow up our square as well as the surrounding squares relative to how many hits we have taken from lightning damage. To avoid murdering one another, we send the fast 3s to the far north corners and the fast 2s to the nearby south corners, with supports taking west and DPS taking east, giving everyone an assigned position. Meanwhile, the 4 slow debuff players wait at the south safe tile to dodge. After the fast electrical condensers resolve, Wicked Thunder will cast another sidewise spark while facing true north, once again telegraphing either 8 spread orbs or 4 pair orbs. For spread, we put the melees in precise locations to manage uptime, while the ranged use the rest of the ample space as needed. Pairs is a little trickier. The pairs target the 4 remaining Electrope debuff players, so we need 4 pairs of 1 debuff and 1 non-debuff. The uptime solution is as follows. 3s stand adjacent to the cleave, while 2s stand farther from the cleave. DPS take the 2 south positions, and supports take the 2 north positions. Organizing like this will give us 4 correct pairs in melee range every time. This hit of lightning damage is the reason I advise slow debuffs to add 1 to your count at the start of the mechanic. Following spreader pairs, another set of telegraphs will appear, and we resolve the slow set of Electrope condensers exactly as we did the first set, relative to the empty center tile. We next stack at alpha to minimize movement for an upcoming mechanic, while Wicked Thunder casts Wicked Bolt, a 5-hit shared stack AoE. Wicked Thunder casts Ion Cluster, creating a light party of players with 3 stacks of yellow Positron, and another light party with 3 stacks of blue Negatron. She will then jump north and create an Electrope cannon. Watch her target ring carefully, and the moment she slightly turns, run opposite the direction she turns towards to reach the safe spot before Stampeding Thunder deletes you. Tanks can greed this mechanic, but it hits very hard, and you will want your mitigation for the next mechanic. After 5 hits of Stampeding Thunder, she will destroy the targeted tiles, leaving only a single column. She will recenter on the remaining column and cast Electron Stream, firing yellow from one end of her cannon and blue from the other. Players need to get hit by the color opposite their debuffs to cleanse their stacks. Additionally, this cannon hits the first target much harder, so tanks will need to be closest to Wicked Thunder. Following the cannon blast, each light party will have received 4 debuffs. 1 player with either a blue or green current debuff that targets the nearest or farthest player with a conal AoE respectively, 1 purple collider conductor debuff that will strike the entire platform with a massive AoE if not cleansed by being hit with a current AoE, 1 DPS with either a point-blank circle AoE or donut AoE, and 1 support with a circle or donut. Considering we only have 5 seconds to resolve these debuffs, this seems quite complicated, but it is deceptively simple. We resolve all of these on the side we were just shot on. The blue or green current debuff stands direct center on the tile, while the purple collider debuff stands just behind them, slightly farther away from Wicked Thunder. The support with circle or donut stands on the white dot in the top left of the inner box on their tile, while the DPS with circle or donut does the same on the top right facing the boss. Positioning like this will resolve everything with a reasonable margin for error. Wicked Thunder will cast Electron Stream twice more, and we will repeat this entire process, swapping sides when needed to make sure we are always being shot by the opposite color, until all 3 of our stacks are gone. The arena will be restored and another Wicked Jolt tank buster will be cast before we move Wicked Thunder to the center for the next mechanic. She will face south and cast Electrope Transplant, beginning her transition phase and stroking the egos of everyone who was betting this wouldn't be a door boss fight and being told to huff more copium, myself included. We organize into pairs that consist of both 1 melee and 1 range, as well as 1 support and 1 DPS, with starting positions between waymarks of the same color. Conal AoEs will telegraph, and when these resolve, we will dodge left into the center of them. Cones will hit the previous safe spot, and we will dodge right into these. We continue alternating left and right, with the ranged players staying farther out. When the 5th set of cones hit, either all supports or all DPS will be hit with Conduction Point, giving them a magic vulnerability. On the 6th set of cones, they will be targeted by Forked Fissures, a column AoE that will delete them unless another player gets hit by it first. As such, if the melee in a pair is struck by Conduction Point, their ranged partner needs to move in to intercept the Forked Fissure. There will be a final 7th set of cones, and then players can move in to heal up before returning to their starting positions to repeat this entire process a second time. We stack at Charlie to prepare for a massive knockup. It's time to mitigate and heal, as Wicked Thunder transforms, hitting the raid with a series of 4 Raidwides. As the 4th Raidwide hits, the party will be knocked up and away relative to Wicked Thunder's position, so make certain to be south unless you want to explore the city. Augmented by Electrope, Wicked Thunder appears on the edge of the new 4x3 arena. Crosstail Switch is an enormous series of 9 Raidwide AoEs. We tank LB at the end of the cast bar, requiring us to mitigate and heal the first 2 hits before the LB kicks in to make the remaining 7 survivable. A plethora of traveling exoflare AoEs will appear, and once again this seemingly intimidating mechanic is deceptively simple. Light Party 1 goes to the west edge of the arena and Party 2 to the east edge. The 2 center columns always go north or south, so we can disregard all of these. At least one of the top 3 rows will have arrows west and east that travel away from your side, so start adjacent to this row and dodge into it after the first AoEs go off. While we position, the boss casts Wicked Blaze, targeting both healers with shared stack AoEs that hit 4 times. These stacks are massive, so all players will share the hits even if they start in different safe spots. Immediately after Wicked Blaze, inspect the boss for her Wicked Special Telegraph. Orange Sword will telegraph the outermost 2 columns are safe spots, while Purple Tails will indicate the center of the arena as the safe spot. Dodge accordingly before collapsing to heal up. We next move into fixed spread positions for Mustard Bomb. 2 Tank Buster Tethers will appear, which the tanks will grab and take north. At the end of the cast, the Tank Buster Tethers will go off alongside 4 Circle AoEs on the remaining party members, all of which inflict fire vulnerability. 2 party members will not be hit, and these players will move to the tanks to pick up the Mustard Bomb debuffs from them to save them from dying to the fire vulnerability. When they expire, these debuffs will strike the last 2 players with Circle AoEs, which they resolve north. In case of an emergency, tanks can invuln the debuff if no one is available to pick it up from them. Wicked Thunder next casts Ethereal Conversion, storing either blue knockbacks into her tails or orange circle AoEs. She will immediately follow this with Tail Thrust, releasing the stored mechanics in the order she stored them left and right, but later in the fight she will store these before mechanics and release them afterwards. The knockbacks are radial from these red dots on the west and east side of the arena, and knock players back quite far, so exercise care when positioning. The circle AoE tails are massive, but the movement from safe spot to safe spot is quite short at the north and south edges of the arena. Azure Thunder will deal raid damage and place a circular electrical field on the outside of the arena. Players should stack together direct center for an upcoming mechanic. Twilight Sabbath will create 4 clones that will telegraph sidewise spark cleaves, 2 at a time. As the sparks appear, the boss casts Wicked Fire, placing massive circle AoEs under all players. As soon as the circle telegraphs appear, the raid should move to dodge both cleaves and the circles. After those resolve, players should move back center while inspecting the second set of clones to dodge their cleaves, before inspecting Wicked Thunder to additionally dodge the Wicked Special she's begun casting. Midnight Sabbath will create 8 further clones on the Cardinals and Intercards. The boss will cast either Scattered Burst, indicating players are to first spread before organizing into pairs, or Concentrated Burst, indicating players are to first organize into pairs before spreading. As the first set of clones appear, players must inspect whether they have cannons or wings. Cannon clones will fire a column AoE across the arena, while wing clones will create a donut AoE around themselves. At the start of the mechanic, we have each pair go to their respective quadrants and spread or stack according to Wicked Thunder's cast and the first set of clones. They then reposition as needed to dodge the second set of clones while resolving the remaining stack or spread. Immediately after the second clone's resolve, players need to inspect the boss to dodge her next Wicked Special. The mechanic will end and the boss will cast Wicked Thunder, dealing heavy rate damage. This is followed by another Ethereal conversion. This mechanic will be stored until after a rather long one, so players need to note how to resolve the tail thrust later. Following the Ethereal conversion, we send Light Party 1 west and 2 east before Wicked Thunder casts Flame Slash, cleaving and destroying the 2 center columns of the arena. Raining Swords will create 4 towers on either side, and we soak these in the order Tank, Melee, Healer, Ranged from north to south. Chain Lightning will create arrow tethers from the boss to 3 of the swords on one of the platforms. These tethered swords later detonate as circle AoEs, with the edge next to the untethered sword being the safe spot. These 3 tethers then jump to the opposite platform, giving the other party their first safe spot. The tethers then continue jumping back and forth between the platforms until each sword has been a safe spot once, and both platforms can get the same or a different safe spot order. At the end of the cast, the 3 originally tethered swords will detonate in circle AoEs, followed by the next 3, until these circle AoEs have finished retracing the tether's paths. Following Chain Lightning, the platform is restored, and Tail Thrust releases the mechanic stored from before, so be ready to dodge accordingly. This is followed by another Mustard Bomb and another Ethereal conversion, before Azure Thunder deals raid damage and creates another circular field. Ion Cluster will once again give yellow and blue debuffs, only 1 stack this time. Supports will have a fast blue, a fast yellow, a slow blue, and a slow yellow. DPS will also have 1 of each. At the start of the mechanic, we separate with supports west and DPS east. Sunrise Sabbath once again summons clones that work a bit differently this time. Cannons will appear at the intercardinals and fire baited yellow or blue beams that cleanse debuffs of the opposite color. Wings will appear on cardinals and face left, right, or directly across, spawning 2-player towers in the direction they are facing. Fast debuff players must bait the first set of cannons to cleanse their debuffs before they expire. Supports take the west cannon of the opposite color and bait towards the cardinal that towers are not spawning on, standing as close to both their ad and the arena edge as possible. It is important to position quickly because these cannons lock into place before firing. DPS do the same with the east cannons. In the event that both cannons on your side are the same color, the odd DPS takes the northwest cannon, and the odd support takes the southeast cannon. While the fast debuffs are positioning to bait their cannons away from the towers, the slow debuffs report to the towers to soak them, with supports always taking the south or west tower, and the DPS always taking the north or east tower. Following the first set of clones, players must observe the boss to dodge the Wicked Special she is casting. After Wicked Special, the process repeats, with the slow debuffs baiting cannons and the fast debuffs soaking towers in their respective assigned positions. Immediately after the second set of cannons and towers, the boss will release the mechanic stored earlier with Tail Thrust, so position to resolve accordingly. Wicked Thunder will now cast Sword Quiver, her final mechanic. She will place a series of 4 lines on the ground that divide the arena into 6 slices, dealing damage with each placement. Following this, the lines will explode as very wide column AoEs as Wicked Thunder slams her sword into the center of the arena, striking either all DPS or all supports with conal AoEs. We organize into pairs with Light Party 1 west and 2 east, with melee close and ranged far. Following the laceration cones, return to the middle for heals and mitigation, before this mechanic repeats twice more, after which Wicked Thunder will enrage at the 13.5 minute mark. Thank you for checking out my Wicked Thunder guide. I hope that you found something useful within it, and if you have any questions, please get in touch in the comments down below. I hope to get the others out in the near future, and when I do, I'll see you there. Thanks for watching.